few weeks ago, I did a Q&A video on the very first video in the table saw workstation series of upgrades. Today I thought I'd continue on and answer some questions on the rip fence. Before I do that, however, I'd like to go over something that came up after the last video. The table saw workstation itself has been in my shop for going on 12 years now. At the time, my wife and I lived in a condo with a one-car garage, and our homeowners association mandated that we needed to be able to park our car in that garage. So I had the space from the back wall of the garage to the corner of the car to work with, and that dictated the size of the workstation. YouTube didn't exist at the time. I didn't have half the tools that I have now, and I was brand new to woodworking. I just made this up as I went along. Now, here's the point that I want to make. How you're supposed to do something and how you're not supposed to do something is an answer that can only be defined by you in whatever space it is that you call your workshop. And you'll never be able to define those answers unless you just get rid of the excuses. 12 years ago, I didn't use a lack of tools, experience, or space as an excuse for not doing what I had found a passion to do. And my hope is that you would do the same. Now, I'll get off my soapbox and I'll answer some questions about this rip fence. Barry from England said he built this and he couldn't get it to clamp down. Now, that's all the information that I have to go off of, so I can only hypothesize what the issue might have been. One thing that is important to note is the length of the sides of the rip fence. In my situation, the distance from the front of the workstation to the back of the workstation is 24 inches. The length of my rip fence is 23 3/4 inches. The other 1/4 of an inch is this piece right here. So the distance from this back piece to this piece is 24 inches. That way, when I tighten it down, it'll move those two pieces closer together, providing some clamping force. I built mine out of scrap wood because it was a prototype. I didn't know if it was going to work, and I didn't see a need to waste good material on something that may or may not work out in the end. After I built it and found that it worked, I thought, well, it works, so why waste good material replacing something that's not broke? One thing to note from the first video was the step where I drilled an undersized hole for the head of the bolt for the front mechanism. With this scrap 2x4 that I used, that lasted about 6 months before it stripped out. In hindsight, if I'd used a hardwood, that might have lasted a little bit longer. What I ended up doing was just placing a washer and a lock washer behind the head of the bolt, and that seems to be holding up just fine. And no, it doesn't stay parallel with the blade. That's what I made this for. It's the rip fence alignment jig. I also found this to be useful when measuring for the dadoes while building the vanity dresser. Be sure to check the description. I'll have links down below. Don't forget to visit me at simplyeasydiy.com, and be sure to check out my second channel called Simply Easy Homesteading. Until then.